Lin Changsheng travels through the world of immortality and chivalry, obtaining a simplified panel for the Great Way. All kinds of techniques and immortal formulas can be simplified, making cultivation simple. Simplified arrow technique equals touching bow, simplified iron sand palm equals rubbing hands, simplified golden bell cover equals rubbing bath grass flying simplification equals running, turtle breathing simplification equals sleeping simplified fox demon soul suppression technique equals touching the head simplification of the gluttonous swallowing method equals eating simplification of alchemy equals rubbing mud pills. Simplification of formation equals building walls refiner simplification equals making iron symbol simplification equals riding with the broad road. To the simple panel, Lin Changsheng relied on his own efforts to gradually become a true immortal. Keywords of the novel. Simplification of the Great Way. From the perfect divine arrow technique to the true immortal without a pop-up window, simplification of the Great Way. Download the complete collection of Perfect Divine Arrow Technique to the True Immortal TXT, Simplification of the Great Way. Read the latest chapter of Perfect Divine Arrow Technique to the True Immortal. Chapter 1. The Way to Simplicity, Arrow Technique, Mucheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Way to Simplicity, Arrow Technique, Mucheng Yugua. Qingzhou, Mucheng. It's the end of the year. On the East Street, people come and go. On both sides of the street, there are shops selling vegetables, buns, tofu, meat, noodles, and a plethora of shops. There are also those who carry the goods and sell bingtangyulu. It's incredibly lively. On the left side of the street, at the entrance of a small breakfast shop, stands the sign Zhen Noodle Shop. There are 2 or 3 guests sitting in the shop eating noodles. Hello, what would you like to eat? I have Yangchun noodles and egg noodles here. In her 20s and 30s, she has a rich chest and a delicate appearance. The owner, Sister Zhen, who is cooking noodles, warmly attracts customers. Among the pedestrians, a young man of about 16 or 17 years old, with whitewashed clothes and a disheveled face, hurriedly walked towards the direction of West Street. Changsheng, where are you going? The landlady, Sister Zhen, had sharp eyes and immediately shouted. Sister Zhen, I'll go grab some medicine. The young man paused and turned his head to agree. Come in and have a bowl of noodles first. Sister Zhen put down the net bag of lo mein and said enthusiastically. No, Sister Zhen, I've had it before. Lin Changsheng shook his head. A bowl of noodles was worth 4 copper coins, and he was ready to grab the medicine and go back to cook some coarse grains to eat. He has been traveling here for over a month now. Both parents passed away, leaving behind 3 tiled houses and a little savings. However, this person has a thin and weak body, chest tightness, shortness of breath, and a sickly state. His savings are almost depleted, and the doctor has not seen any reason for it. So far, he can't do anything and no one wants to go out and find work. In order to save money, he eats at home by himself. Crossing into a diseased seedling, Lin Changsheng once felt depressed. However, as time passed, he gradually felt relieved that having a good body to live was better than anything else. If he hung up again, Lin Changsheng wouldn't believe he could still travel through time. If you have eaten it, then add more. Sister, please eat it. The noodles are all cooked, don't waste them. Sister Zhen ran out, grabbed Lin Changsheng's hand, and pulled inside. I'm so sorry that I often eat from you. Lin Changsheng scratched his head and ate many noodles from Sister Zhen. After all, it was difficult for her to start a small business. What are you polite to me, sister? Sister Zhen pulls Lin Changsheng into the noodle shop, presses him against the wall, sits down, and turns to lo mein. Changsheng, come on, the noodles are ready. After a while, Sister Zhen brought up a bowl of steaming plain noodles, soup white, scallions, several pieces of green vegetables, and a soy egg. Sister Zhen, she gave me an extra soy egg. Here, Lin Changsheng picked up the plain noodles with his chopsticks and said. That's what I invited you to, and you've been helping me a lot. Sister Zhen looked at Lin Changsheng and smiled slightly. Thank you, Sister Zhen. Lin Changsheng's heart warmed. Actually, Sister Zhen also had a difficult life. A year ago, a man passed away. She opened this Sister Zhen noodle shop to make a living alone with her child and mother-in-law. For over a month, whenever she saw him, she would bring him in to eat noodles and find various reasons to treat her. The so-called help. Lin Changsheng only helped Yan Zhen take care of her child for a few days. Sister Zhen, I have finished eating. Lin Changsheng finished eating the noodles in a few bites and stood up to say something to Sister Zhen. Changsheng, why don't you come to the noodle shop tomorrow to help me? Sister can't handle selling noodles alone. Sister Zhen glanced at Lin Changsheng and said. This upon hearing this, Lin Changsheng knew about his family's affairs. The body he had traveled through was sickly, and he had been seeking a doctor for over a month without being cured. No one wanted to find a job, so he came to the noodle shop to help, and probably had to be taken care of by Sister Zhen. Changsheng, don't hesitate, come early tomorrow morning. Seeing Lin Changsheng's concerns, Sister Zhen immediately waved her hand and said. Thank you, Sister Zhen. Lin Changsheng nodded without any more affectation. He really needs to find a job, fill his stomach, and survive in his current situation. Lin Changsheng bid farewell to Sister Zhen and just walked out of the noodle shop. 3 young men with hanging children and eagles tattooed on their chests walked towards him. The eldest young man, with buck teeth and a pointed nose, was about 20.7 or 8 years old. He looked at Lin Changsheng and said. Lin Changsheng, it's the end of the month, it's time to give the monthly silver. Lin Changsheng knew that the buck-tooth youth was a member of the Green Snake Gang in Mucheng, named Tai Yang, responsible for collecting protection fees for this street. Okay. Lin Changsheng fumbled in his pocket, took out 2 copper coins, and handed them to the young man. The Green Snake Gang occupies Mucheng East Street, and every month, residents, shops along the street, vendors, and singers have to pay varying amounts of protection fees. The gang leader said that starting from this month, the monthly silver has risen. You still need to give me a copper plate. Tai Yang raised his eyebrows. Okay. Lin Changsheng's expression remained unchanged, and he took out another copper plate and handed it over. My former parents passed away, leaving some savings to be used by Lin Changsheng for treatment. After more than a month, my illness did not improve, but my savings were almost spent. Not paying protection fees. This Green Snake Gang is not easy to talk to. Lin Changsheng heard that a month ago, a young man refused to give due to his youth and strength. On the 3rd day, he was discovered and committed suicide by jumping into the river. There was also a singer who broke 3 ribs due to slow payment. I am sick and seeking a living in this world, so I can only compromise for the time being. You still have a good time, kid. Next month, there will still be 3 articles. Don't forget. Tai Yang patted Lin Changsheng's shoulder, showing a satisfied expression, and went door to collect protection fees. Ha! Is this gold finger? Suddenly, Lin Changsheng saw a semi-transparent panel with a pale white color appearing at the corner of his eye. With excitement, Lin Changsheng quickly returned to his 3-tiled houses, locked the door, and then sat on the bed. His consciousness moved, and the light blue panel appeared again. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. None, Practice. None, Skill. None, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, Yin Qi invades the body. No wonder. Seeing the status bar on this panel, Lin Changsheng was taken aback. Lang Zhong cannot cure his illness. It turns out that he has been contaminated with Yin Qi. However, with this panel, Yin Qi should be able to be dispelled, and there is hope for the body to return to normal. Consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify martial arts and techniques. Lin Changsheng looked at the panel and fell into contemplation. Silver, he doesn't have it. However, Lin Changsheng remembers that his former mother left behind a pair of dowry jade bracelets, jade rings, and white jade pendants at the bottom of the box, which could be taken to the pawn shop for emergency rescue. Without strength, he dared not try them. Once he exchanged these things for silver at the pawn shop, he would not be able to hide them from the Green Snake Gang's Iron Young. He didn't have any martial arts skills either. Martial arts masters keep their own martial arts secret, but if you want to learn martial arts techniques, go to the Iron Hand Martial Arts School in the city. I heard that as long as you have silver, you can enter and receive the method of teaching martial arts cultivation. Lin Changsheng heard that the entrance fee for the Iron Hand Martial Arts School is 10 taels of silver. Only by finding a way to get the silver can we talk. Lin Changsheng's house is 2 miles behind Zhen Jie's noodle shop. The next day, before dawn, he came to the noodle shop to help. The noodle shop can rest in the afternoon. Changsheng, go to my house and help me get the rolling pin from the yard. Sister Zhen smiled and turned her head to say to Lin Changsheng. Good. Lin Changsheng nodded and turned to go to Zhen Jie's house. Zhen Jie's house was 2 miles behind the noodle shop, a small courtyard with 3 tiled rooms. He pushed open the iron door and searched for a rolling pin in the courtyard. Bow. Suddenly, Lin Changsheng was in the corner of the yard and saw a bow covered in dust, which looked very solid. You should know that Lin Changsheng had loved bows and arrows since he was a child, and he had once made one using bamboo and hemp rope. Therefore, seeing this bow made him very curious. Lin Changsheng picked it up, pulled up the air string, aimed at the distance, and made a shooting posture, lightly flicking a few times at will. He couldn't put it down again and observed the hunting bow, then put it down, found the rolling pin, and headed towards the storefront. Discovering skill arrow technique, did you spend 1 tael of silver to simplify the arrow technique? Suddenly, Lin Changsheng saw a message popping up on the corner of his eye panel, along with a yes and no button. Display on the panel. Skill. Arrow technique, by flicking the bow, one gains the technique of archery. Consuming 1 tael of silver can simplify arrow techniques. After simplification, what will happen? Lin Changsheng widened his eyes, surprised and looking forward to it. It seems that I have to take some of the jade bracelets, jade rings, and white jade pendants to the pawn shop in the western city for processing. Lin Changsheng pondered repeatedly and said in secret. He only has over 200 yuan now. That jade bracelet. Once he leaves the pawn shop on East Street, Tai Yang will definitely come upon hearing the news. Go to Shicheng, it's not the territory of the Green Snake Gang. For safety reasons, he is preparing to handle it in batches. In the afternoon, Lin Changsheng wore a big hat and wide clothes, lowered the brim of the hat, held a jade bracelet and a pair of white jade pendants, and went to the Timely Rain pawn shop in the western city of Mucheng. He exchanged 7 taels of silver and went through various twists and turns, confirming that no one was following him. Only then did he return to his home on East Street. You should know that these days, 7 taels of silver is enough to cover the expenses of a family of 3 for a year and a half. It's better to be cautious. Upon returning home, Lin Changsheng eagerly locked the door. Simplify the arrow technique. Lin Changsheng reached out and confirmed yes. The great way to simplify. Arrow technique simplification begins. Simplification in simplification succeeded. Arrow technique equals touch bow. After successful simplification, a prompt appeared on the panel. Avenue to simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Non-inflow 0 out of 100, Practice. None, Skill. Arrow technique, Beginner 0 out of 100, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, has the progress of the arrow technique skill been released? Does this mean that just touching the bow can improve the progress? Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up, and he remembered the bow from Sister Zhen's house. She said it was used by her man for hunting before his death. Go get that bow and stroke it to see. Changsheng, if you want to practice archery, take it. At Sister Zhen's house, Zhen heard that Lin Changsheng wanted the bow thrown in the corner, so she immediately took it out and gave it to Lin Changsheng. Thank you, Sister Zhen. Lin Changsheng took the bow, bid farewell to Zhen, and quickly returned home, trying to touch the bow. Suddenly, he noticed that the data on the panel had increased by 1 point, skill. Arrow technique, beginner 1/100. Lin Changsheng immediately held a bow in his left hand and gently stroked it with his right hand. He saw that his arrow technique skills were rubbing against each other, and in no time, he had become proficient. Skill. Arrow technique, proficient 1/500, at the same time, an experience in archery techniques and methods emerged in Lin Changsheng's mind, blending with his consciousness. At this moment, Lin Changsheng felt like he had been practicing archery for 6 months. At the same time, his eyesight and hearing have also increased significantly, but his strength seems to have also increased. With this minimalist function of the Great Way, if I simplify the method of cultivating qi and blood, the yin qi on my body may invade my body and be able to drive it away. Lin Changsheng stroked his bow, but his heart was filled with anticipation for the future. Generally speaking, the most frightening thing when yin qi invades the body is the strong qi and blood. If one's qi and blood are strong enough, the invasion of yin qi can definitely be dispelled. He has had enough of these sick days. In the blink of an eye. As the new year approaches, the weather is gradually getting colder. A heavy snowfall enveloped Mucheng in silver. There were only a few pedestrians on the street in a hurry, and the Zhenjie noodle shop closed today. Zhenjie's noodle shop is 1 mile away. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Non-inflow, 99/100, Practice. None, Skill. Arrow technique, great perfection, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, Lin Changsheng stood in the yard, glanced at the panel, held his bow, and used all his strength to shoot an arrow. With a swoosh, a wooden arrow he had sharpened himself shot into the locust tree 20 feet away, more than an inch deep, and the tail feathers of the arrow trembled. Not bad, with my current arrow technique, I should be able to score hundreds of victories. Lin Changsheng stepped forward and drew his arrow, feeling very satisfied in his heart. The arrow technique was full and round, and Lin Changsheng felt that his strength had increased significantly. Although the yin qi invasion state had not yet been relieved, it was no longer the same as before, and his complexion had improved significantly. To learn the technique of increasing qi and blood, you must enter a martial arts school. Lin Changsheng secretly made up his mind. He is planning to spend 10 taels of silver as the entry fee to enter the Iron Hand Martial Arts School. As long as he learns one martial arts skill and successfully enters, it will be simplified. At present, he still has 6 taels of silver, and he is planning to take some time to exchange that pair of jade rings and a jade bracelet for a pawn shop to raise entry fees. At this moment, a clicking sound of snow being stepped on came. Changsheng, sister simmered some soup and brought you some. Remember to eat it while it's hot. Sister Zhen was wearing a thick cotton jacket, holding a box in her left hand and a cotton jacket in her right hand. She handed it to Lin Changsheng and said again. After finishing, put on this cotton jacket as well. Sister Zhen, you. Lin Changsheng's heart was shaken, and a warm current rose from the bottom of his heart. He didn't expect that Sister Zhen would send herself food and cotton clothes at this time. Stop talking, take it. It's so cold, your body is weak, and your clothes are so thin. I'll leave. Sister Zhen put down her things and quickly left. She brought in local chicken soup, steaming hot. Lin Changsheng ate it while it was hot. Although the cotton coat was old, it was very clean. There are still 15 days left until the end of the year. Zhenjian Noodle Shop. Changsheng, why don't you go to my house for New Year's Eve dinner this year? Lin Changsheng was preparing to return home from work and went to the urgent shop in the eastern city to hand out a jade bracelet, when Sister Zhen's voice came in. Thank you, sister. Manager Yang said he wants me to go to his house for New Year's dinner. We'll talk about it later. Upon hearing this, Lin Changsheng hurriedly said. Sister Zhen's mother-in-law is very harsh and speaks with a stick in her mouth. She has to go to the New Year's Eve dinner on her own, so she can't afford to stir up trouble. As for Manager Yang, that's Lin Changsheng's excuse, but Manager Yang is also very kind. Although Lin Changsheng is weak, the shopkeeper Yang still wants Lin Changsheng to marry his daughter Yang Xiaoqian and become his doorstep son-in-law. In the eyes of Manager Yang, although Lin Changsheng is thin and weak, his facial features are upright. If his food is good, he is definitely a beautiful man. Okay then. Sister Zhen nodded. After Lin Changsheng finished work, he went to the West City in the same way, but this time he didn't go to the Rain pawn shop in time. But instead, in the midst of an urgent situation, he exchanged the remaining jade bracelet and a pair of jade rings for 86 taels of silver, and then walked back to East Street, confirming that there was no one around before returning home. Iron Hand Martial Arts School. It is one of the 3 major martial arts schools in Mucheng. Master He Tai's Ho, who cultivates iron sand palm, is rumored to be able to crack stones and open steels. He is one of the 3 great masters of Mucheng. Unlike the Golden Bell Martial Arts School and the Flowing Cloud Martial Arts School, disciples are more refined and abundant. Iron Hand Martial Arts School, as long as you pay 10 taels of silver, you can enter and receive the teaching of iron sand palm. This also makes the number of disciples in Iron Hand Martial Arts School much more than the 2 major martial arts schools, Luyun and Jinzhong combined. Due to the principle of generating wealth, the Iron Hand Martial Arts School occupies a large area, with 2 half Shanghai stone lions at the entrance, exuding extraordinary power. Little brother, pay 10 taels of silver and I will register you in the register. I will issue you a disciple identity card, and you will become a disciple of my Iron Hand Martial Arts School. At the entrance of the Iron Hand Martial Arts School, He Jin, who was recruiting disciples, looked at Lin Changsheng warmly. Another money giver has come to my door. It's already past the best age for practicing martial arts, and I can't get started with iron sand palm after 3 months. I paid these 10 taels of silver in vain. If I want to continue practicing in the martial arts school, I have to continue paying silver. Big brother and sisters, cute new 720-degree collectible, recommended ticket duck. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Rescue, Green Snake Swordsman, Zhankui. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Rescue, Green Snake Swordsman, Zhankui. Okay, thank you. Lin Changsheng took out 10 taels of silver and handed it to He Jin. He Jin recorded the age of Lin Changsheng in the booklet, added the time, and handed a wooden plaque with an outer inscription on the front and an iron palm pattern on the back to Lin Changsheng. Take this identity badge and use it to enter the martial arts school's training ground for cultivation in the future. Come, I'll take you to the training ground. Lin Changsheng followed He Jin and entered the Iron Hand Martial Arts School. At first glance, it was a blue slate square, with hundreds of young people of different ages practicing iron sand palms in front of black iron sand bags, shouting incessantly. He Jin handed Lin Changsheng over to Coach Zhang at the martial arts training ground, and then left. As soon as you become a disciple of the martial arts school, I will pass on the introductory method of iron sand palm to you. The so-called iron sand palm requires qi to be exhaled from the dantian and fully focused on the palm. Apply force when pressing the solid, and exhale with a loud voice. Zhang, in his 50s, bald, with thick calluses on his hands, pointed to the black iron sandbag on the stone bench in front of him and explained to Lin Changsheng the cultivation method and key points of the iron sand palm. The Iron Hand martial arts school is not afraid that its disciples will learn iron sand palm and pass it on. Because iron sand palm is a type of palm-hard martial arts that can be attacked and defended by using iron sand and medicinal materials as training aids and practicing specific methods. After practicing for a long time, iron sand palm has the ability to crack bricks and stones. Its practice relies on the power of medicine, and attention should be paid to luck in order to receive internal strength assistance. After practice, it is necessary to wash hands with a secret formula to disinfect and remove swelling, strengthen muscles and bones. Without a secret formula for washing hands, practicing without authorization will result in the loss of hands. Therefore, Iron Hand Martial Arts School is not afraid of spreading the practice method. The real secret is the hand-washing prescription. Practice well and strive to get started in 3 months. Teacher Zhang patted Lin Changsheng's shoulder and then went to guide other disciples. Lin Changsheng followed Coach Zhang's instructions and repeatedly patted the sandbag in front of him, while looking at his own panel. I haven't shown getting started yet. Lin Changsheng furrowed his brow and continued to pat. Time passed, and a quarter of an hour passed. Gradually, he felt a slight numbness in his hands. He was about to take a break when a prompt appeared on the corner of his eye panel. Did you spend 1 tael of silver to simplify the martial arts iron sand palm? Finally getting started. Great. Upon seeing this, Lin Changsheng remained calm and informed Coach Zhang that he was going home. In the small courtyard. There is no one on either side. Lin Changsheng stood under the tree, his consciousness moved, and a panel appeared. Simplify iron sand palm. Lin Changsheng clicked on the button with a hopeful mood. The great way to simplify. Iron Sand's palm simplification begins. Simplification in simplification succeeded. Iron Sand's palm equals rubbing hands. The prompt message flashes. Simplify iron sand palm to rubbing hands. Upon seeing the prompt, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up and he looked at the panel, trying to rub his hands. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Non-inflow, 99/100, Practice. None, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Great Perfection, Iron Sand Palm, Beginners 17/100, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, it's indeed simplified. Rubbing your hands will increase it by 1 point. I'm afraid it won't be long before Iron Sand's palm is fully round, right? Seeing the numbers on the panel constantly jumping with his hands rubbing, Lin Changsheng was filled with anticipation and kept rubbing his hands. Distance from New Year's Eve. There are only 8 days left. During this period, Lin Changsheng worked at the Zhen noodle shop in the morning and went to the Iron Hand martial arts school as usual in the afternoon. However, his iron sand palm was constantly rubbing his hands, and the numerical value showed. Iron sand palm, perfect 62389/62500. This morning, Lin Changsheng discovered that the Zhen noodle shop was not open. He went to Zhen's house to knock on the door, but there was no response from the dark lights. When dawn broke, he went to the vegetable shop next to the noodle shop and asked. Uncle Zhang, do you know why Sister Zhen didn't open the door today? Don't you know? I heard her mother-in-law died of poisoning yesterday afternoon. The Yamen sent someone to investigate and said she poisoned her mother-in-law, causing her death. They arrested her. Oh, it's already difficult for orphans and widows. The shop owner, Mr. Zhang, sighed. This is impossible. Sister Zhen is a kind person, and I don't think she will harm her mother. In law. Lin Changsheng frowned. He went to the martial arts school yesterday afternoon and only returned after dark. Unexpectedly, something happened to Sister Zhen's family. Although Sister Zhen's mother. In law is malicious, she treats her well. How could she kill her? There's a lot of trouble in front of the widow's door. Old Zhang kept sighing. Ma Zhankui became a wealthy man in Mucheng before the age of 40. Due to his sister Ma Qian being the concubine of the magistrate of Mucheng County, Ma Zhankui took on many profitable tasks through this relationship. While earning a lot of money, he also worked up and down, and his subordinates raised over 100 members of the Green Snake Gang to serve him. Behind Dongjie, 5 miles away, there is a large mansion built by Ma Zhankui, with luxurious pavilions and lotus ponds. There are more than 10 servants in the house. Lao Li, how's the matter going? By the lotus pond, Ma Zhankui looked at an old man in front of him and asked. Master, I have told the widow what you mean. As long as she agrees to marry the master and you become a concubine, you can take care of her and let her escape. She disagrees, said Lao Li with a hint of gloom in his eyes. Disagree? Then go tell her, if no one helps her, she will be beheaded and her child will be left unattended. Ma Zhankui's gaze was gloomy and he ordered. Yes, sir. Lao Li turned around and left. If you don't agree, your child will suffer. Humph. I just don't believe it, I can't take down just a little widow. The more chaste you are, the more excited I am. Ma Zhankui's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a scorching expression. Since meeting Yan Zhen, the owner of Sister Zhen's noodle shop 2 months ago, he has been longing for that smooth, graceful, and jade-like owner. In order to get her hands, he even sent someone to poison her mother. In law, then arrested her and forced her to comply. Mucheng. Dongjie Street, 5 miles away, is bordered by a river that runs through Mucheng, with large rocks and forests on the banks. A young man dressed in cloth stood by the river. It's Lin Changsheng. Lin Changsheng looked around and saw no one on either side. He immediately arrived at the edge of a large stone and picked up his iron sand palm in a perfect state. He saw that his palm emitted a hot breath, and a faint blue light was faintly visible. Lin Changsheng discovered that the iron sand palm had reached a state of great fullness, and his hands were as hard as iron, becoming much heavier. And his body has also become much stronger, his appetite has increased, his complexion has improved too much, his strength has surged, and the cultivation progress bar on the panel is third rate, for 19 out of 500. However, the state of yin qi invading the body is still present. Open. Lin Changsheng clapped his right hand. Boom. With a loud noise, the half-zhang large stone under his feet instantly split into pieces, and wherever his palm fell, it turned into stone powder. The round iron sand palm can indeed open a monument and crack stones. Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up and he came to a large tree with a diameter of about a foot. With a palm of luck, he thrust out his iron sand palm like a knife, instantly piercing through the tree and flying wood chips. Sister Zhen has helped me a lot, I need to find a way to save her. Lin Changsheng murmured to himself and turned around to leave. At night. The sky was pitch black. Mucheng County Government. A yard 5 miles away. A thin middle-aged man was lying on the bed in the room, with a slight snoring sound. It was Li Zhen, the tomb digger of Mucheng County. At this moment, the door of the room slowly opened, and a black-clad man wearing a ghost mask and holding a dagger in his right hand flashed in. The man in black extended his finger slightly behind Li Zhen's head. Ah, you! Li Zhen woke up in shock and was about to speak when a cold and hoarse voice came through. Li Zhen, if you shout, I'll kill you immediately. I'm just asking you something. Ah, good. May I ask? I know everything without hesitation. Li Zhen saw the cold gleaming dagger and a look of fear flashed in his eyes, his voice trembling slightly. Widow Yan Zhen's mother. In law, what kind of poison is it? Do you know the source of the poison? The man in black spoke in a deep voice, and the dagger was close to Li Zhen's throat, with a trace of blood flowing down. Qingqing snake powder. As far as I know, this green snake powder is the unique poison of the green snake swordsman who disappeared 10 years ago. Li Zhen trembled her lips and said. The unique poison of the green snake swordsman. So, it's not Yan Zhen who poisoned her mother. In law. Why do you conclude that Yan Zhen is the culprit? Speak up. Otherwise, I'll kill you immediately. Lin Changsheng frowned and slapped Li Zhen's right arm, causing it to snap and break. Sister Zhen cannot have the unique poison of the green snake swordsman, and there is definitely a big problem with it. Ah yes. It was Ma Zhankui who asked me to designate the widow. I don't know anything else about it. Li Zhen was trembling with pain, and in the face of the threat of death, he could only move. Ma Zhankui. Alright, find a way to get rid of Yan Zhen's suspicion tomorrow. If you can't do it, I will kill your whole family. Lin Changsheng's voice is hoarse and his tone is icy cold. Yes, it must be done, it must be done. Li Zhen quickly agreed. Bang! Lin Changsheng used a palm knife to knock Li Zhen unconscious. I didn't expect this Ma Zhankui to be so venomous. Lin Changsheng murmured to himself, closed the door, and turned to leave. Lin Changsheng learned about it. Ma Zhankui is the elder brother of Chen Ling, the current county magistrate. He became wealthy in less than 10 years and became one of the wealthiest households in Mucheng. He remembers that nearly 2 months ago, Ma Zhankui came to Zhenjie's noodle shop to eat noodles. At that time, he even suggested that Zhenjie go to his house to make noodles, but Zhenjie did not agree. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Iron Yang Covets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Iron Yang Covets. Mucheng East Street. Lin Changsheng returned to his tiled house and opened the panel. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Third rate, 419 to 500, Practice. None, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Big Round Full, Iron Sand Palm, Big Round Full, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body. The arrow technique and iron sand palm are already fully rounded, but my cultivation progress has slowed down, possibly related to the cultivation technique. Wait another half-month, and you can go and collect the martial arts skills. Lin Changsheng looked at his panel and pondered to himself. Iron Hand Martial Arts School, in addition to Iron Sand Palm, also has the sun-reflecting breathing technique to match it, regulating meridians, strengthening tendons and bones, condensing qi in blood. It is rumored that the cultivation is to the extreme, with strong qi and blood, extremely strong physical body, and yin ghosts dare not approach. However, the reflecting sun breathing technique requires an introductory level of Iron Sand Palm to be taught. This is also a way for the Iron Hand Martial Arts School to make money. If Iron Sand Palm hasn't started yet, you can't practice the reflection and breathing technique. 3 months later, Iron Sand Palm hasn't started yet. Sorry, I need to pay an additional 10 taels of silver to stay in the martial arts school and learn martial arts. The sunlight tuna method is like a candy hanging 1 zhang away, tempting you to constantly pay silver. Of course. If you can learn Iron Sand's Palm within 3 months, it indicates that you have talent. In the future, you will become an official disciple of Iron Sand's martial arts school and will naturally teach you the breathing technique. For the sake of caution, Lin Changsheng is preparing to showcase the entry-level Iron Sand's Palm in just over half a month after the start of the Chinese New Year. After all, Chi Tong was the fastest to enter the Iron Sands martial arts school, and it only took him half a month. He spent more than a month getting started, which is not particularly eye-catching. East Street. 3 miles away, in a large courtyard. Big. 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 Small. 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 Leopard. Dot. More than 20 young men in blue clothes with eagles tattooed on their chests were rolling dice, and the scene was lively. As the market opened, some were happy while others were worried. Damn it, it's small again. What a bloody thing. I lost again. Taiyang angrily walked out of the crowd and squatted in front of the yard door, feeling suffocated. I lost a whopping 700 won today. Yang, what I mean is that Lin Changsheng has been running to the West Street lately. It turns out he went to the Iron Hand martial arts school to learn martial arts. At this moment, a short young man hurried forward and said to Taiyang. What a Lin Changsheng. He has money to learn martial arts at the Iron Hand martial arts school. Upon hearing his younger brother's whispers, Taiyang's eyes lit up instantly. Today I had a tough day and lost quite a bit. Since Lin Changsheng has money to learn martial arts at the martial arts school, it would be wonderful to strike him a few taels of silver to make up for his losses. At this point, Taiyang reminded the short young man. San Zi, don't tell anyone about this. Tomorrow, let's go find Lin Changsheng and make some silver flowers. Hello, Brother Yang. The short young man's eyes lit up with anticipation. East Street. Ma Zhankui's living room. Master Ma, someone interrupted my hand last night, asking me to cleanse the widow Zhen. If I don't comply, he will kill my whole family. Look at this. Li Zhen, a grave worker with a bandage tied to his right hand, looked at the sturdy middle-aged man in a brocade robe in front of him and respectfully clasped his fists. With one blow and a fierce technique, who is helping that widow? Ma Zhankui looked at Li Zhen's injury and narrowed his gaze slightly. He was curious about the person who was threatening Li Zhen. As far as he knows, that Zhen man has died, there should be no one to stand up for her. Over the years, you have also helped me a lot. Alright, you can go to the county government to re-examine Zhen's mother. In law and clear Zhen's suspicion, so that person won't take action against your family. Ma Zhankui pondered and said. Thank you very much, Mr. Ma. Thank you very much. Upon hearing Ma Zhankui's words, Li Zhen was deeply moved and bowed to him. Go get busy with you. Ma Zhankui waved at Li Zhen and watched as he turned around and left, speaking in a deep voice. Lao Li. Master. After the screen, an old man walked out and bowed to Ma Zhankui, clasping his fists. You go to the county government prison and say to Zhen, although she doesn't agree to marry me, my master has a soft heart and still spent a lot of money to help her clear the suspicion. What should you say? Ma Zhankui narrowed his gaze and said. The old slave knows, let's go handle it now. Lao Li nodded and turned to prepare to leave. Also, arrange manpower, monitor Zhen, anyone who comes into contact with her. Ma Zhankui said again. Understood. Lao Li nodded. It's not impossible for the tyrant to bow hard, but it's missing that flavor. It's still a widow. Ma Zhankui touched his chin and sighed as he watched Lao Li leave. Half a day later. East Street. Sister Zhen has returned. It seems that Li Zhenjiao, the undertaker, has taken care of it. Go and see her. Lin Changsheng sat inside the room, looking at the distant mountains and murmuring. Zhen has helped herself a lot, so she should go and see. Lin Changsheng's home was not far from Zhen's, and soon he arrived at Zhen's home. Sister Zhen, they didn't make things difficult for you, did they? Lin Changsheng looked at Zhen and asked. Changsheng, thank you for coming to see me. They didn't find it difficult because the graveyard worker said it was a mistake and released me. Zhen nodded when she saw Lin Changsheng. She returned from the county prison, still feeling a bit haggard, with a hint of melancholy on her face. Sister Zhen, just come back and live a good life. Everything will be peaceful in the future. Lin Changsheng comforted. Well, I hope so. Zhen thought of what Lao Li had said when she left the prison cell, and suddenly felt worried in her heart. However, she still showed her face. Changsheng, have you eaten yet? Let me give you some food below. Sister Zhen, no, I've had it before. Please be busy. I'm going back. Lin Changsheng waved his hands repeatedly. Zhen has returned and needs to deal with her mother-in-law's affairs. Besides, New Year's Eve is coming soon, and Lin Changsheng is also preparing some delicious food for the Chinese New Year. Well, okay. Zhen nodded, with a worried expression between her eyebrows. Lin Changsheng said nothing and bid farewell to Zhen before leaving. Lin Changsheng returned from Zhen's house and sat for a while. Lin Changsheng, open the door. Suddenly, there was a knocking outside the door. I haven't paid the monthly silver payment for a month yet. Lin Changsheng looked at Tai Yang and Li San standing at the door with a puzzled expression. Hello, Lin Changsheng. You registered to learn martial arts at the Iron Hand Martial Arts School and cried poverty for me. As far as I know, the entrance fee for the Iron Hand Martial Arts School is 10 taels of silver. You must have made a windfall. Bring it to you. Tai Yang strode in and said with a disdainful expression. Yang laughed and said, there's no such thing as windfall. I'm not in good health, right? I just took the last 10 taels of silver to the Iron Hand Martial Arts School to learn martial arts, hoping to strengthen my body. I really didn't make any windfall. Lin Changsheng shook his head and denied. He had a murderous intent in his heart. However, Tai Yang is the leader of the Green Snake Gang. If you kill him, you won't be able to hide it. Although Iron Sand Palm is full, he is not sure about killing the leader of the Green Snake Gang. He will never do anything that is uncertain. Don't be shameful, his mother. I said there will be news about you falling into the river tomorrow on East Street. Do you believe it or not? Seeing Lin Changsheng's denial, Tai Yang immediately grabbed Lin Changsheng's collar, his eyes flickering with a murderous intent, and shouted fiercely. I believe it. Upon hearing Tai Yang's words, Lin Changsheng's heart sank and he knew that this matter could not be resolved. His thoughts quickly changed and he pretended to be very afraid, saying. Yang, to be honest, half a month ago, I accidentally found a package containing over 30 taels of silver. I spent 10 taels learning martial arts, and the rest was hidden in a cave by me. I'll give you everything, I don't want to fall into the river. At this moment, Lin Changsheng's heart was filled with murderous intent. He knows. If Tai Yang can't get any silver, he won't leave. If he kills on East Street, he will startle the Green Snake Gang. So he tricked them into killing in the mountains. Even if thrown into the river, there is no doubt about oneself. Package. In the cave. Upon hearing Lin Changsheng's words, Tai Yang and Li San exchanged a glance, both showing a greedy expression, and said in a deep voice. You can tell the truth, lead the way ahead. You should know. This year, 5 taels of silver is enough for a family of 3 to eat and drink for a year. There are still over 20 taels left. As for Lin Changsheng's deception. In Tai Yang's view, how could Lin Changsheng's timid scholarly demeanor be a match for himself and Li San? If you dare to deceive, kill him. They haven't done this for the first time either. Cute new me, seeking to collect recommended tickets. How few collections are there. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Moon Blossom Tuna Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Moon Blossom Tuna Method. 10 miles outside Mucheng is the towering Lone Wolf Mountain, with steep cliffs and dense forests. At the foot of Lonely Wolf Mountain is the Tianyu Grand Canal, which flows along Mucheng and into the distance. The saying goes, relying on mountains to eat mountains, relying on water to eat water. Many people in Mucheng rely on the canal for food. Half an hour later, Lin Changsheng and Tai Yang and Li San walked along the path without encountering any pedestrians. The three of them arrived at the foot of Solitary Wolf Mountain, with the Grand Canal beach in front and the high mountains and dense forests behind. "Kid, how far is it? I tell you, don't play any tricks, otherwise you will die very miserably." Tai Yang looked at Lin Changsheng, frowning tightly. This Lin Changsheng looks thin and weak, like a scholar. Even if he has bad intentions, he is not his opponent, but he has already come here and has not seen the silver yet. He is very impatient and his heart is not at ease. "Don't worry, brother Yang. How dare I lie to you? It's not far ahead, in the crevice under the cliff." Lin Changsheng pointed ahead and said to Tai Yang. He remembered that there was a large stone crevice under the cliff, and his predecessor often went there. Moreover, the river water was rushing and the sound was loud. Later, he would kill Tai Yang there, and they would not be afraid even if they called it Patian. "You dare not even measure." Upon hearing Lin Changsheng's assurance, Tai Yang's eyes showed a look of anticipation, and his footsteps were much lighter. Li San also smiled. Not long. Lin Changsheng and his three companions arrived at the foot of the cliff, where there was a stone wall on one side and the Grand Canal on the other, and few people came. On the tens of zhang long stone wall, there is a gap, about half a zhang wide and 1 zhang deep, covered by vines. "Brother Yang, look, it's buried inside there." Lin Changsheng pointed at the crevice and said to Tai Yang. "You go in and take it out for me." Tai Yang's eyes showed a greedy expression and commanded Lin Changsheng. "What if there is something fishy in the crevice of the stone?" Although Lin Changsheng doesn't seem like a threat, he still has a sense of caution in his heart. Good Lin Changsheng nodded and suddenly pointed to the stone crevice. "Brother Yang, someone is coming over there." Upon hearing Lin Changsheng's words, both Tai Yang and Li San instinctively turned their heads and looked around. Bang! A fierce gleam flashed in Lin Changsheng's eyes, his palms like knives, slashing towards their shoulders. Click! Click! Ah! You! Iron Yang and Li San ignored each other and their shoulder bones collapsed from being hit by iron sand palms. They let out a scream and fell to the ground, looking at Lin Changsheng in shock. "If you want my silver, I will take your life." Lin Changsheng's eyes revealed a killing intent, and he lifted a large round iron sand palm to pat Li San's Baihui acupoint on the head, which was closer to him. Puff! Li San couldn't dodge, his skull was shattered, his mouth and nose were bleeding profusely, his eyes widened, he collapsed to the ground, unable to close his eyes in death. "Changsheng, spare your life. Spare your life. I was wrong. I have 3 taels of silver at home, I'll give you all, just beg you to spare my dog's life." Seeing Lin Changsheng smashing Li Santian's lingai with his bare hands, Tai Yang's soul surged and he looked horrified. He wanted to get up and run away, but was so scared that his whole body became weak and he fell to the ground. He quickly begged for mercy. At this moment, Tai Yang's heart was filled with regret and his intestines turned blue. He didn't expect that Lin Changsheng, who seemed harmless to humans and animals, would be so terrifying. It's too late. Lin Changsheng looked at Tai Yang and shook his head. "Perhaps in a few days, there will be news of your falling into the water on Dongjie." After speaking, he clapped his palm on the top of his head with a click, and Iron Yang's skull shattered. He couldn't close his eyes and died from exhaustion. Poor devil, surprisingly only 233 copper coins. Lin Changsheng searched the bodies of Tai Yang and Li San, kicked their bodies into the rolling Grand Canal, dealt with the blood on the ground, and turned around to leave. Lin Changsheng did not return by the original route, but took a big bend on the mountain and returned to Mucheng. He's not strong enough now, so we can't let the green snake help find him. Half an hour later. Lin Changsheng arrived at another mountain path leading to Mucheng on Lone Wolf Mountain. Suddenly. Across the mountain path, a middle-aged man in gray clothes, holding a long sword and carrying a package, stumbled towards him with a weak breath. This person was covered in blood, with unusually large joints in his hands and a bone-visible wound on his chest. His face was purple-black, and black blood continuously flowed from the wound, staining his clothes and dripping all the way. As the middle-aged man saw Lin Changsheng, a glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes. This. Lin Changsheng narrowed his gaze, slowly retreated, turned around, and walked away. Judging from this person's appearance, there must be someone chasing after him. He doesn't want to wade into this muddy water. Little brother, don't leave. My name is Gao Yang and I have been poisoned by Ling Ziyu, a drilling kite. If I can't survive, can you help me send a letter to Gao and Gao family village? Please. The middle-aged man in gray stumbled and fell to the ground, looking at Lin Changsheng's back. He spoke intermittently, and black blood slowly overflowed from the corner of his mouth. His gray package and long knife fell into the grass. Upon hearing the middle-aged man's words, Lin Changsheng ran faster. Help me deliver the letter and package the silver for you. Lin Changsheng ran all the way, and he vaguely heard the intermittent voice of the middle-aged man in gray clothes. Package. Silver. Lin Changsheng ran for more than 2 miles. After thinking for a moment, he carefully returned and hid in the woods. Through Li Su, he saw the middle-aged man lying motionless on the ground, seemingly dead. Let's wait for an hour and see. If no one is chasing after us, we'll go pick up the package before we talk. Lin Changsheng thought to himself. After an hour, that Gao Yang probably died to the death. Even if someone were chasing after Gao Yang, it would still be safe to hide so far. Lin Changsheng waited for a full hour. He didn't see anyone chasing him, so he cautiously approached. He saw the middle-aged man lying on his side, and the black blood flowing from the corners of his mouth had solidified. His heart slightly relaxed. Lin Changsheng found a branch that was over 10 feet long and hooked the package around the middle-aged man in gray clothes. And carefully use a branch to pick it apart. So much silver. Ha! Moonlight blossom breathing method. Lin Changsheng looked at the items inside the package, his heart contracting uncontrollably, and his eyes lit up. There is a lot of silver inside, as well as 2 pieces of clothing. There is a yellowed book with curled edges, which is written with the 5 words, Moon Blossom Tuna Method. There is also a dark sign, wood is not like wood, and iron is not like iron, engraved with a white cloud pattern. I didn't expect to have such a great harvest after taking a long detour back to the city. It's not in vain for me to wait for an hour. It's amazing. Lin Changsheng was overjoyed. He was worried about not having any martial arts skills when someone came knocking on his door. Worried about getting poisoned, he took off his coat and carefully wrapped the silver, secret script, and brand inside. Then, with a long knife, he quickly dug a pit on the spot, buried the middle-aged man in his empty package, and built a grave. Another large stone was moved and placed in front of the grave, which can be considered a tombstone. Brother, after receiving your silver, I will naturally keep my promise. If there is an opportunity and the ability to go to Qingyang City in the future, I will deliver a letter to Gao family village for you. Lin Changsheng looked at Gao Yang's tomb and said, then picked up something and quickly went down the mountain. Gaojiazwang. Lin Changsheng actually knows that it is located more than 200 miles away from Mucheng in Qingyang City. Just half an hour after Lin Changsheng left, a thin, pale-faced middle-aged man in green, carrying a sword, followed the bloodstains on the ground and stopped in front of the grave. The bloodstain ends here, someone buried Gao Yang. The green-clothed man's gaze flickered as he unsheathed his sword. In no time, he dug open the grave and looked inside at the dead Gao Yang. He picked it up and searched for it, not even leaving the package behind, as if he was looking for something. Damn it! Someone took that thing. Who is it? After achieving nothing, the man in green looked sharp and kicked Gao Yang away, murmuring. This person buried Gao Yang, so he shouldn't have gone too far. Lin Changsheng returned home and hid the silver, secret script, and brand. Lying in bed, recalling the scenes of killing Tai Yang today, my mood still remains unsettled. He pondered carefully and felt that there were no major flaws. After his mood recovered, he finally took out the silver and the secret technique of the moon blossom breathing method. He dared not touch it with his hands. Gao Yang is extremely poisonous and deadly. What if it's poisonous inside? He doesn't want to gamble. This time it was a big harvest, there were actually 32 taels of silver. However, the silver cannot be moved for now, bury it in a safe place. After carefully counting the silver, Lin Changsheng quickly dug a hole in the house, buried all 32 taels of silver, and then stepped on the soil to press the rice jar on top. Eating a cup of Changyi Ji, if you suddenly take out the silver and spend it, you will inevitably be remembered by those with a heart. You should know. I entered the martial arts school to learn martial arts, but surprisingly, I was also remembered by Tai Yang. If it weren't for my iron sand palm being full, I'm afraid there would really be news of him falling into the river tomorrow. Only with strong strength can one not be afraid of others thinking about it. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. For Masters of Mucheng, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. For Masters of Mucheng. Lin Changsheng slammed the door upside down, took out the book of the moon blossom breathing method, and flipped through it. Need to absorb the moonlight and cultivate on a night with moonlight for the best effect. Lin Changsheng finished reading this book of moon blossom breathing technique, which is about 3,000 words long and also includes patterns and simple cultivation postures. This is a skill that can use the moonlight to strengthen and cleanse the body, as well as cultivate internal qi. Practicing to the extreme, the breath is surging and incredibly powerful. At the same time, this is also one of the martial arts of the Gao family in Qingyang City. Let's slow down the sunlight breathing technique for now. Let's start by practicing this moonlight breathing technique as an beginner. Lin Changsheng looked at the book in his hand and whispered to himself. As far as this is concerned, I started studying the technique of breathing and gestured according to the pattern on it, ready to try it out at night. Time passes by. In the blink of an eye, it was the 29th day of the Lunar New Year. Did you spend 2 taels of silver to simplify the discovery of the technique, moon blossom breathing technique? Lin Changsheng sat on the couch, looking at the panel at the corner of his eye, where a red prompt appeared. Simplify. Lin Changsheng reached out and clicked the Yes button. He currently doesn't count the 32 taels of silver he received from Gao Yang, and there are still over 5 taels left as jewelry. Simplification requires 2 taels, which is enough. Tuna method simplification succeeded in simplification. Tuna method == Muyue. A display popped up on the panel. Muyu. Does this mean bathing in moonlight? Seeing the simplified result, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up immediately. At this moment, he noticed that the panel had changed. Avenue to simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Third rate, 439 to 500, Practice. Moon Blossom Breathing Technique, Beginner 0 out of 100, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Big Round Full, Iron Sand Palm, Big Round Full, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, there is no moon in the sky, I wonder if it's okay. Lin Changsheng, with a try-and-see attitude, opened the door and walked out, looking at the sky while also paying attention to the panel at the corner of his eye. Although I can't see the moon, I can still gain some experience. Lin Changsheng looked at his panel and noticed the moon blossom breathing technique, beginner 3 out of 100, on it. He estimated that it would take about 60 breaths to gain some experience. Don't sleep tonight, show shua shua the moon blossom breathing method. I don't know, after the completion of my moon blossom tuna technique, can I become a second-rate expert? Lin Changsheng's eyes showed a look of anticipation. As far as he knows. The owner of the Iron Hand martial arts school, he Iron Hand, is a second-rate expert. He ties Ho from the Iron Hand martial arts school, Liao Jinzhong from the Golden Bell martial arts school, Ji Luyun from the Luyun martial arts school, and the leader of the Green Snake Gang are all experts at the same level. Sha sha sha. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came, and Lin Changsheng turned his head to see a graceful woman in her 20s and 40s slowly approaching. Sister Zhen, why did you come? Lin Changsheng looked at the woman walking towards him and was somewhat surprised. During this period, the noodle shop did not open. Sister Zhen buried her mother. In law and Lin Changsheng also went to help a few times. Changsheng, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Come to my house to have New Year's dinner. Zhen looked at Lin Changsheng and said sincerely. Okay. Lin Changsheng thought for a moment, but still agreed. Previously, her mother. Law was armed with guns and sticks, but now, her mother. Law is no longer here. Let's go once. Then don't forget to come early tomorrow. Zhen nodded and gave an explanation before leaving. The next day. Early morning. The sky reveals a white fish belly. Cultivation. Third rank, 471 to 500, practice. Moon blossom breathing technique, proficient in 137/2500, great, after a night of hard practice, I have developed some internal strength. Lin Changsheng looked at the panel in front of him with a lively expression, where the cultivation and cultivation items had undergone changes. And he also felt a pigeon egg-sized airflow surging in the dantian area inside his body. This is internal power. In my mind, there are many insights and techniques about the moon blossom breathing method. These insights blend with his consciousness, just like how he has been practicing the moon blossom breathing technique for nearly 7 or 8 years, it is incredibly magical. Worthy of its name, one must bathe in the moonlight. As the day broke, Lin Changsheng discovered. The increase in experience points has become incredibly slow, with no increase of 1 point for a quarter of an hour. East Street. In Ma Zhankui's estate. Ma Zhankui, dressed in a brocade robe, held fragrant tea in his hand and gently blue tea foam, with 2 pretty maids standing beside him. Master. At this moment, an old man dressed in black walked in and respectfully punched Ma Zhankui. Ma Zhankui gently waved his hand and the 2 maids bowed out. What's going on? Ma Zhankui looked at Lao Li and asked. Master, Tai Yang and Li San have died. Their bodies were thrown into the Grand Canal and discovered by fishermen at a return bay. Both of them had shattered heavenly spirits, apparently due to the Desheng iron sand palm technique. Lao Li said in a gloomy tone. Desheng iron sand palm. Did it be done by people from the Iron Hand martial arts school? Ma Zhankui's eyes narrowed and his face looked a bit ugly. As far as he knows. In addition to the owner he ties Ho Taisha Palm Dashing, there are also several Taisha Palm Dashing members in the Tais Ho martial arts school. Master, it's not yet certain, but it's also possible that Tai Yang has offended the people of the Iron Hand martial arts school. Old Li's eyes showed a thoughtful expression, saying. I will take some time to visit the Iron Hand martial arts school about this matter. Is there anything else I can do? Ma Zhankui saw that Lao Li seemed to have something else to do and immediately asked again. Master, you asked me to pay attention to Zhen. After burying her mother. In law, she didn't have much contact with anyone. However, her apprentice at the noodle shop, Lin Changsheng, went to her house for New Year's Eve dinner on the evening of New Year's Eve. After finishing the meal, she went back. Also, the old servant also informed Zhen that you have paid her back and asked her how to repay her. She said she will earn money and slowly repay it. Lao Li bowed and said. Well, I got it, keep monitoring. Ma Zhankui nodded and said. Yes, sir. Lao Li respectfully clenched his fists and slowly took a few steps back before turning and leaving. How can you make money by relying on your noodle shop? In the blink of an eye. You have already buried your mother. In law. I will wait for you for another half-month. If you don't recognize me again, I won't have much patience. Ma Zhankui raised his teacup in his hand and looked at it before his eyes, murmuring. A glimmer of anticipation flashed in his eyes. On the 9th day of the first lunar month. Late at night. East Street. Lin Changsheng sat in the yard, his consciousness twitched, and a panel appeared at the corner of his eye. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Third rate, 499 to 500, Practice. Moon Blossom Tuna Technique, Desheng 7809/12500, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Big Round Full, Iron Sand Palm, Big Round Full, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, my cultivation is stuck at the peak of third rate. I wonder if I can break through to second rate when the Moon Blossom Tuna technique is fully completed. Lin Changsheng looked at his panel and thought to himself. The Moon Blossom breathing method is indeed as its name suggests. As long as it is at night, outside the house, you can gain experience points. When there is moonlight, it rises quickly, and when there is no moonlight, it rises slowly. During the day, it is as slow as a snail. From the 29th day of the 12th lunar month to the 9th day, he sat outside, bathing in the moonlight, allowing his experience points to increase. At the same time, his strength continued to grow, and correspondingly, his appetite greatly increased. Although the state of Yin Qi invading the body is still showing, he feels that his body is no longer in the same Japanese language as before. Seeking recommended tickets, collectibles, monthly tickets, and cute new support. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Zhen's worries, reflecting on the sun to breath and bask in the sun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Zhen's worries, reflecting on the sun to breath and bask in the sun. Lin Changsheng discovered that after the completion of the moon blossom breathing technique, the internal energy in the dantian had already reached the size of a fist, and could wander through the meridians of his body according to his wishes. It can also be contained in palm power. Lin Changsheng mobilized his internal strength and slapped it on the bench, releasing his internal strength. Click. With a crisp sound, the stool suddenly cracked several cracks. Not bad, just relying on internal power has such power. If you hit a person and spit out your internal power, it won't shake and destroy their internal organs. What about the second-rate strength? Isn't it stronger? Lin Changsheng looked at the effect of his palm and felt very satisfied. At the same time, I am also looking forward to second rate. The noodle shop opens on the 10th day of the Lunar New Year. Lin Changsheng still went to work. He plans to resign when he learns the sunlight breathing technique and reaches second-rate cultivation. Although the moon blossom breathing technique can increase experience by bathing in moonlight, cultivation can also increase experience. Its goal is to enhance strength and become stronger, and it cannot be reversed. Sister Zhen, what's wrong with you? What's up? At noon, when the noodle shop was closed, Lin Changsheng looked at Zhen and casually asked. He remembered that Ma Zhankui, a wealthy man from Dongjie, coveted Zhenjie. Although Zhenjie was released, he didn't think that Ma Zhankui had given up. Changsheng, I'm fine. Maybe I didn't sleep well last night. Zhen smiled on her pretty face and said. Well, as long as it's okay. Lin Changsheng nodded. He still had to go to the Iron Hand martial arts school. Mucheng. East Street. Guests come to the inn. Who the hell took that thing? A thin and pale-looking man in blue sat in a guest room on the second floor, with a gloomy expression on his face. Ling Ziyu secretly plotted against Gao Yang just for the thing on him. Although Gao Yang fought hard to injure him, he was also poisoned by the blood spider venom and was bound to die. He pursued him all the way, but it was only a few hours late when someone took away his belongings. Damn it. I've been delaying my time for so many days. Once I find out, I want you to ruin your life. At this moment, Ling Ziyu was almost gritting his teeth. Hate the person who buried Gao Yang to the extreme. Mucheng. A manner of the Green Snake Gang, in the hall. On two wooden boards, two people were lying, both with broken skulls, clearly dead for a long time. Gang leader, this is indeed an injury caused by Deshang Iron Sand Palm. However, there is no conflict of interest between our martial arts school and the two esteemed subordinates, so it's not worth it. Can you be a martial arts master who cultivates iron sand palm from outside? An elderly man with unusually large hands, a tall and strong figure, and a heavy breath frowned as he watched the injuries of the two. This old man is the owner of the Iron Hand Martial Arts School, He Taizhou. It's possible. Ma Zhankui's expression remained unchanged. He nodded and said. Thank you, master. I'll investigate again. Well, then I'll bid farewell. He Taizhou clenched his fists at Ma Zhankui and immediately left with several martial arts school disciples. Old fox, it's not your martial arts school's hands that were done by ghosts. One day, I will have your martial arts school expelled from Mucheng. Ma Zhankui looked at the back of He Taizhou as he left, with a gloomy expression on his face. Iron Hand Martial Arts School. Training ground, in front of sandbags. Changsheng, have you started using iron sand palm? You have decent qualifications. Since you have started, you can learn the breathing method and become an official disciple. I will take you there. Upon seeing the introductory form of iron sand palm exhibited by Lin Changsheng, Coach Zhang's eyes immediately showed a surprised expression. Getting started with iron sand palm in a month can be considered a mid-level qualification. Thank you very much, Uncle Zhang. Lin Changsheng clenched his fists at Coach Zhang. I started in a month. I envy you so much. I will be starting my studies for 3 months tomorrow, and I haven't started yet. Sigh. You're better than me, I've already paid the silver 3 times. The disciples who were practicing iron sand palm around heard that Lin Changsheng had just started in a month, and immediately began to discuss and envy them. The sunlight breathing method is actually the best practice when the sun rises in the early morning. Breathing absorbs the energy of the sun, and cultivation transforms into internal power. Just follow the movements and mnemonics I teach you, and persistently practice. Lu Jiaoshi, who taught the method of reflecting the sun and breathing, said to Lin Changsheng. Thank you very much, Professor Lu. Lin Changsheng expressed his gratitude to Lu Jingming for his teachings, and then began practicing according to the sunlight breathing method. At this point, the sun was scorching, and Lin Changsheng felt his whole body scorching hot. By using this sunlight breathing technique, it seemed that his pores were all open. Did you spend 2 taels of silver to simplify the discovery of the martial arts technique of reflecting the sun and breathing? At this moment, Lin Changsheng noticed a red prompt flashing on the corner panel of his eye. This shows you getting started. Great. Upon seeing this prompt, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up immediately. He remained calm and took a leave of absence from Lu Jiaoshi, then turned around and went home. He didn't carry any silver on him. To simplify, one must go back. Half an hour later. Lin Changsheng's yard. Lin Changsheng stood under a jujube tree, holding 2 taels of silver in his hand, and clicked the confirm button on the panel. The great way to simplify. The sunlight breathing method has started to simplify. Simplification was successful during simplification. Sunlight breathing method equals bask in the sun. After Lin Changsheng confirmed, within 60 seconds, a prompt appeared again on the panel. The sunlight tuna method, after simplification, has become sunbathing. Just sunbathing can increase experience points. This is amazing. Seeing the display on the panel, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up. Sunbathing, it's not too easy. At this moment, the sun is just right in the sky. Let sun dry it first. Lin Changsheng walked to an unobstructed place and allowed the sunlight to shine on him. He found that in almost 3 breaths, the sunlight breathing method increased experience by 1 point. Avenue to simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Third rate, 499 to 500, Practice. Moon Blossom Breathing Technique, Ching 7809/12500, Reflecting Sun Breathing Technique, Beginner Level 13 out of 100, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Big Round Full, Iron Sand Palm, Big Round Full, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, practice has been simplified to just ordinary sunbathing. It's really amazing. Practicing this sunlight breathing technique makes me feel warm all over. If I practice until I reach the great perfection, will my Yin Qi invade my body and disappear? Feeling the changes on his body, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up with anticipation. East Street. Yan Zhen's home. Yan Zhen, I spent 100 taels of silver to catch you out. My silver cannot be spent in vain. You can either marry me as a concubine or accompany me for a month. Choose for yourself. Give you 3 days to consider. Yan Zhen, who had a graceful figure and was dressed in cloth clothes but couldn't conceal her delicate appearance, sat at the door with deep worries in her beautiful eyes. Ma Zhankui had just arrived and left behind the final ultimatum. What should I do? Yan Zhen's eyes were filled with sadness as she buried her head in her knees and shrugged her fragrant shoulders. Ma Zhankui is indeed a thief who never dies, actually forcing Sister Zhen. More than 20 zhang away, Lin Changsheng looked at Yan Zhen, who was crying softly, with a cold gaze. He was originally here to tell Sister Zhen to resign. Unexpectedly, I saw the scene of Ma Zhankui giving an ultimatum to Sister Zhen. He has to practice the sunlight breathing technique during the day and the moonlight breathing technique at night, so he doesn't have time to come to the noodle shop. In addition, he still has more than 30 taels of silver obtained from Gao Yang, which naturally gives him great strength. Seeking recommended tickets, collectibles, monthly tickets, and cute new support. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Second-rate Master. Kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Second-rate Master. Kill. In 2 days. In the morning, the sun rises. 5 miles away from the river behind East Street, there is an uninhabited highland. Experience +1 with the sunlight breathing technique. Experience of sunlight tuna method +1. Lin Changsheng did not go to the noodle shop to work, but sat on a large stone, basking in the sun. No, he was practicing the sunlight breathing method. As Lin Changsheng basked in the sun, the prompts on the panel kept popping up, making his whole body warm. He found that the Ingri tuna method gained experience several times faster than the Yuehua tuna method. This also leads to the fact that although the sunlight breathing method was practiced, it has already reached a perfect state. Ingri tuna method, perfect 59900/62500, today, sunbathing all day should bring a great success, right? Lin Changsheng looked at the panel with anticipation in his heart. My cultivation level is stuck at 499 and I have never been able to break through second rate. I don't know if this sunlight breathing technique is perfect, can it achieve second-rate. If he can become a second-rate expert, then he will become the 5th second-rate expert in Mucheng. At noon, Lin Changsheng made 2 cakes to nibble on and bask in the sun. Sunlight Tuna method advanced great perfection. Successfully advanced to second-rate master. At a moment in the afternoon, a message suddenly popped up at the corner of Lin Changsheng's eye panel. At the same time, a majestic heat flow breathes, like the surging yellow river, reaching all 4 limbs and bones, ultimately returning to Dantian. A strong sense of power sweeps across the body. At the same time, there is also a large amount of information flow appearing in the mind, instantly merging with Lin Changsheng's consciousness, which is truly the reflection of the sun-breathing method for cultivation, perception, and skills. At this moment, Lin Changsheng felt like he had been practicing this sunlight-breathing technique for decades. Have I advanced to a second-rate expert? Lin Changsheng looked at his hands with a surprised expression in his eyes. He feels that his current strength is much stronger than before, third-rate. If the previous internal force was a small stream, now it is equivalent to a river. Within the Dantian, internal power surges and surges. Moreover, he found that, perhaps due to the panel, his cultivation and aura were introverted. As long as he didn't take action, it was impossible to see that he knew martial arts. I don't know how powerful my punch is now. Lin Changsheng was in an excited mood and looked at the half-zhang large stone under his feet. With surging internal strength, he punched out. Boom! A loud noise. Lin Changsheng's fist was half an inch away from the big stone, but his internal strength penetrated through the fist, causing the big stone to instantly split into pieces. Second-rate internal strength, capable of breaking stone tablets and stones. Lin Changsheng looked at the fragmented boulder with a satisfied expression in his eyes and murmured. Now, I have become the 5th second-rate expert in Mucheng. With the perfect iron sand palm and the round and full 100-step piercing yang arrow technique, I have gained preliminary self-protection power. Lin Changsheng viewed the panel. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Second rate, 0/2500, Practice. Moon Blossom Breathing Method, Perfect 27809/62500, Reflection Sun Breathing Method, Great Full, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Big Round Full, Iron Sand Palm, Big Round Full, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, weakened, The sunlight breathing technique has been greatly perfected. After achieving second-rate cultivation, the invasion of Yin Qi has also weakened. That's great. Seeing the display on the panel, Lin Changsheng was delighted in his heart. This weakening of Yin energy is indeed good news. As long as you continue to practice the reflecting sun breathing technique, this Yin Qi will definitely be able to be dispelled without a trace. Lin Changsheng returned home. He decided to practice the sunlight breathing technique while sharpening some arrows, so as not to delay the two. The great round and full 100-step piercing yang arrow technique has a second-rate internal power boost, making it difficult for a second-rate expert to parry even when encountering it. Sister Zhen treated herself well, so let Ma Zhankui handle it for her. The Ma Zhankui has second-rate strength and must have a secret recipe. As one of the 2 major gangs in Mucheng, the Green Snake Gang has been rampant for many years and must have plundered a lot of silver. Changsheng, are you okay? Just then, a crisp female voice came from the door. Sister Zhen, I'm fine. Originally, I was planning to talk to you today, but something delayed me. Maybe I won't go to work in the future. Thank you for taking care of Sister Zhen all along. Upon seeing Yan Zhen, Lin Changsheng hesitated for a moment before speaking up. Ah! Upon hearing this, Yan Zhen widened her beautiful eyes, surprised, and immediately said with a complex expression. What are your plans in the future? I have already started using iron sand palm and am ready to do some other tricks. Lin Changsheng said. With his current second-rate strength, he naturally doesn't need to work at a noodle shop. Really, that would be great. Congratulations. Upon hearing these words, Zhen's pretty face lit up with joy. She was genuinely happy for Lin Changsheng, but the thought that tomorrow would be the last day of Ma Zhankui's ultimatum left her feeling dejected. At night, Lin Changsheng is in the yard, bathing in moonlight while cutting arrows. I already have 50 arrows by my side. It's almost time. Arrows are enough, too. Lin Changsheng murmured to himself, went home and covered his face with a piece of cloth. He carried a bow and 50 trimmed wooden arrows on his back and ran towards Ma Zhankui's estate. Not long. Lin Changsheng arrived at the Ma family manor, where there were many lights and voices. Lin Changsheng jumped over the wall and entered the yard. Although he had not learned lightness skills, his second-rate strength and jumping ability also greatly increased. The Ma family manor is similar to a large courtyard, with the sound of rolling dice and gambling coming from the left room. The main hall of Ma family manor. Ma Zhankui, dressed in a brocade robe, held a purple sand tea cup in his hand and took a gentle sip. He looked at Lin Li, a skilled thug in front of him, and said. Tomorrow morning, go take that widow to the estate for me. Yes, guild leader. Lin Li bowed and clasped his fists. Whoosh! Just then, the sound of a feather arrow piercing through the air sounded. Come on, people. As a second-rate expert, Ma Zhankui was immediately startled when he heard the sound and dodged. However, the speed of the arrow was like lightning, and he couldn't dodge it at all. He had to turn sideways and dodge an arrow in his heart. However, the feather arrow still penetrated his right shoulder blade. Ah! Ma Zhankui let out a painful groan and jumped backwards. But another feather arrow came lightning fast, and Ma Zhankui waved his sword in his left hand, creating a layer of sword curtain and chopping the arrow into pieces. But after this delay in his figure, the third arrow shot at a sharp angle. Just hit his left eye. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Great Harvest, which hero is it? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Great Harvest, which hero is it? Ah! Ma Zhankui let out a scream, covered his left eye, and blood flowed from between his fingers. His figure flashed and he hid at the door, roaring. Someone! Someone! At this point, the disciples of the Green Snake Gang who were gambling dice in other rooms in the yard rushed out with swords and knives, but with a swish-swish, an arrow flew out in a row. The disciples of the Green Snake Gang who rushed to the front were all shot in the throat and fell to the ground. A scream echoed throughout the yard. Damn it! This archer's strength is not inferior to mine. Who exactly is this person? Ma Zhankui hid at the door and painfully pulled out the arrow that had entered his eyes, enveloping his body and mind in a crisis of life and death. Since practicing Green Snake Sword, this is the first time he feels so powerless. I didn't even see my opponent, I was seriously injured. He really can't figure out how he provoked a second-rate expert. Leaving the Green Mountains without worrying about having no firewood to burn. A hint of resentment flashed in Ma Zhankui's single eye. He turned around with his sword and used his lightness skills to jump out of the estate wall. He is now injured in both his right hand and left eye, with less than 60% of his peak strength. Facing an equally skilled expert hiding in the dark, he will undoubtedly die. Ma Zhankui, do you still want to leave? At this moment, a hoarse voice sounded. Not good. Ma Zhankui didn't even think about it. He swung a sword curtain in his hand and crushed a feather arrow. With one glance, he saw a thin figure with a black scarf on his face, holding a long bow and standing 5 zhang away, with an arrow on the string, aiming at himself. A life and death crisis envelopes. Who is your excellency? You have something to say. Ma Zhankui's heart sank, and his sword in his hand was poised for action. He stepped back and prepared to return to the manor. At this point, we can only use the advantage of the terrain to block this person's arrow. His arrow will always finish shooting. By then, with so many subordinates, we cannot escape. Whoosh! The masked man shot another arrow without saying a word. Ma Zhankui waved his sword to block it, feeling the incredible strength on the feather arrow and shouting loudly. Give it all to me, kill him. Upon hearing the command, more than 10 disciples of the Green Snake gang rushed out, but in an instant, 3 of them were shot arrows in their throats. The others were so frightened that they hid under the wall. The opponent's arrow technique hit every shot, and no one wanted to die. Ma Zhankui took this opportunity to leap back into the estate. Whoosh! A feather arrow lightning shot out, hitting Ma Zhankui's left thigh root and piercing his thigh. Ma Zhankui let out a muffled snort and fell into the estate. At this moment, his left leg, right hand, and one eye were all shot by arrows, causing excruciating pain. He struggled to crawl towards a hall. Whoosh! Lin Changsheng kicked his foot and jumped into the manor, landing 3 zhang away from Ma Zhankui, with an arrow hitting his crotch. At this point, a disciple of the Green Snake gang, who is about 30 years old, thrust a claw into Lin Changsheng's heart. Upon hearing the wind, Lin Changsheng stepped back and slapped the person with a palm. The person's paw suddenly snapped and his face showed fear. Lin Changsheng once again slapped this person on the head. This person's skull suddenly collapsed and he died of exhaustion. Dicheng Iron Sand Palm. You killed Tai Yang. Ma Zhankui widened his eyes when he saw Lin Changsheng's powerful thug, Lin Li, who had killed him with one palm, showing an expression of disbelief. Die. Lin Changsheng once again shot an arrow in the other eye of Ma Zhankui, which was powerful and sank, directly penetrating Ma Zhankui's head. He couldn't die anymore. The leader is dead. I don't know who shouted, but suddenly, the remaining 10 or so disciples of the Green Snake sect scattered and fled. Want to run? Lin Changsheng's gaze turned cold. Many people were killed by the Green Snake gang, and each disciple's hands were probably stained with blood. We cannot let them go. Do these people run faster than Lin Changsheng? Not long. 33 disciples of the Green Snake sect, along with the sect leader Ma Zhankui, were all killed in the manor. Ma Zhankui is a wealthy man from the pastoral city and the leader of the Green Snake sect. He must have plundered a lot in recent years. After Lin Changsheng confirmed that he had killed everyone, he did not forget to touch the body and searched in Ma Zhankui's room. Not long. Lin Changsheng searched for over 1,500 taels of silver, most of which were silver bills. There are still many items such as gold and jade. Most importantly, a sword technique secret book called Green Snake Sword Technique was also found. A lightness skill called Fian Lightness Body Skill. That's great. This vote is a big gain. Lin Changsheng's eyes flickered brightly. He packed these with a piece of cloth and then threw 34 corpses together. A few flames ignited all the rooms and flew away. Not long. Lin Changsheng returned home and buried both silver and gold under the jujube tree in the yard. He brought a chair and bathed in the moonlight while practicing the moonlight breathing technique. He also examined the Green Snake Sword Technique and Flying Eve's Lightness Body Skill. A huge fire broke out in the home of wealthy man Ma Zhankui, and many residents on East Street were awakened and rushed forward to put out the fire. But the fire is too strong to save. Zhen sat at home. I feel extremely uneasy in my heart. The 3-day deadline given by Ma Zhankui is tomorrow. Escape. Where to escape? At this moment, Zhen heard footsteps and shouts on the street, as if many people were running. She followed the sound and couldn't help but widen her eyes. Did Mama family village catch fire? Tomorrow is the deadline given by Ma Zhankui. Now that Ma Zhankui's house is on fire, if a glimmer of hope arises in Yan Zhen's heart. The big fire in the Ma family burned for most of the night. The flames, several zhang high, dyed half of the sky in Mucheng red. Even the county magistrate Chen Ling was alarmed. Ma Qian, the sister of Ma Zhankui, fainted on the spot after learning that her brother had died in a big fire. Ma Zhankui is dead, and Sister Zhen doesn't have to worry anymore. Lin Changsheng bathed in the faint moonlight and murmured. At 3 o'clock in the morning. Detected Flying Eve's lightness body skill. Did you spend 1 tael of silver to simplify it? A red prompt popped up on Lin Changsheng's front panel. Simplify. Lin Changsheng immediately clicked OK. The great way to simplify. The Flying Eve's lightness body skill has been simplified. The simplification was successful. The Flying Eve's lightness body skill equals running. Running. Looking at the panel prompt, Lin Changsheng couldn't help but blink. It is truly the simplest way. Running is too easy. Isn't it possible to achieve great success soon? At present, my only attack move is the great round full arrow technique, while the iron sand palm only strengthens my dual palms. Once I encounter a second-rate expert with strange and exquisite moves, it is still unstable. This green snake sword technique must be beginner's level. After running a few steps, Lin Changsheng saw that the Flying Eve's lightness technique had gained a few points of experience, and immediately took out the green snake sword technique. The next day. Xinjian Noodle Shop. Have you heard that last night, the Ma family manor was not on fire, but was attacked by enemies? Ma Zhankui and more than 30 disciples of the Green Snake Gang were all killed. Ma Zhankui's cultivation has already entered the 2nd class. He is known as one of the 4 great masters of Mucheng. Those who can kill him are not first-class masters. I don't know about that. Anyway, Ma Qian, Ma Zhankui's sister, has already offered a reward of 100 taels of silver patterns to gather clues. Oh my goodness! There's a reward of 100 taels of silver. It's enough for my family of 3 to live for 20 years. Yan Zhen was busy cooking noodles when suddenly she heard several diners discussing and felt a wave of relief all over her body. If Ma Zhankui is killed, then he will be safe. Just. Who killed Ma Zhankui? This unknown hero can be considered as helping himself. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Bounty, Girl, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Bounty, Girl, Mucheng County Government. Backyard. My brother died so miserably. We must catch the culprit. I will strip him of his skin and cramp him. A beautiful-looking woman with slightly thin lips looked at Chen Ling sitting on the Grand Tutor's chair and cried. Don't worry, the reward has already been issued. The killer can't escape. Chen Ling's gaze was gloomy. He knew his uncle's strength and had advanced to the realm of a second-rate expert, but he was still killed, indicating that the murderer was at least a second-rate expert. In order to avoid causing panic, the culprit must be wanted for such a major incident in Mucheng. Say it again. The Green Snake Gang is one of the 2 major gangs in Mucheng, and they participate in many filial piety activities every year. Master, there is someone seeking to see, claiming to have seen the killer's appearance that night. At this moment, the slender master walked forward and bowed, clasping his fists. Oh! Let him in quickly. Upon hearing these words, Chen Ling's eyes lit up instantly. Ma Qian also widened her eyes. Master, the youngest one is Lu Monkey from the Green Snake Gang. He went to the restroom that night because he had diarrhea. When I came out, I saw a person holding a bow and arrow, shooting 4 arrows at the leader of the gang. More than 30 gang members present all died. Not long after, a young man with a sly expression walked in quickly and clasped his fists at Chen Ling. Have you ever seen this person's appearance before? Mucheng quickly stepped forward and looked at the gang member, asking. No, he's covered in a black scarf, thin in stature, holding a bow and almost hitting the gang members' throats with every arrow. Mr. Ma's thighs, shoulder blades, and eyes are hit by arrows. However, if that person's back appears in front of me, I can still recognize it. Lu Monkey said with a respectful expression. He was filled with immense anticipation in his heart. Providing clues to the killer can earn you 100 taels of silver. Even if you don't have 100 taels, 10 taels is enough. Okay, first find a painter to draw this person's figure and post it at the city gate. Chen Ling's spirit lifted and he said. East Street. 5 miles away from the Ma family estate, in a large courtyard. 70 to 80 people were packed to the brim. Ma Zhankui has already died, and the Green Snake Gang has also dissipated. From now on, you will follow me and not treat you unfairly. I have entrusted you with one thing now, which is to inquire for me and find out who went up the Lone Wolf Mountain before the new year. And buried a person. Find this person and reward 100 taels of silver. A thin middle-aged man in green clothes with a pale and unnecessary complexion, carrying both hands on his back, looked at the crowd and said in a deep voice. Ling Yi, don't worry, we will definitely find the people who entered the mountain 2 years ago and 2 years later. Ling Ye's matter is our matter. Many members of the Green Snake Gang initially resisted Ling Ziyu's pressure, but upon hearing that they could reward 100 taels of silver for finding someone, their eyes lit up with anticipation. You should know. A family of 3 only needs 5 taels of silver or 100 taels per year, which is enough to live for 20 years. Go ahead. Ling Ziyu waved his hand. Numerous gang members left one after another. It's better to make a mistake than to miss any opportunity to find it. Ling Ziyu's eyes flashed with anger as he thought of the item. This person buried Gao Yang and took that thing, causing him to delay for such a long time again. Once caught, he must be defeated to dispel his hatred. West of the city. Black Tiger Gang. Lobby. Brothers, Ma Zhankui of the Green Snake Gang has been killed by someone, and the territory he controls has been vacated, which is a great opportunity for our Black Tiger Gang. Later, I'll go to the county government office. You guys are always on standby, ready to take over the territory of the original Green Snake Gang. A tall and extraordinary middle-aged man sat on a tiger-skin chair, looking at more than 10 gang members in front of him, and said. Yes, guild leader. Many members of the Black Tiger Gang made a resounding promise. Upstream of Mucheng, 30 miles. On the Dayu Canal, which is over 10 miles wide. A 5-story ship, 20 zhang long and 5 zhang wide, is slowly moving forward. A stunning young girl, about 17 or 18 years old, dressed in light white palace attire with a graceful and luxurious demeanor, stood on the 5th floor. Behind her stood 2 equally handsome maids. Miss, the people have suffered a lot along the way. At this moment, one of the maids looked at the stunning girl and said. Well, prosperity brings hardship to the people, while decline brings hardship to the people. The palace-dressed girl nodded, her beautiful eyes filled with deep sadness. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, the building ship shook and all the cups on the table in the room were scattered on the ground. The girl in palace attire changed her expression and looked out the window, only to find that flames and smoke were emitting everywhere on the 1st floor of the building ship. The whole ship is divided into 2. The 2 maids instantly fell from the broken hull into the Grand Canal. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Protect Mississippi! Below, there were shouts of guards and the sound of swords clashing. Not good. The girl in palace attire felt a thump in her heart, leaping forward. However, a railing hit her, and she immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and fell into the Grand Canal. Miss fell into the water. Mississippi. Seeing the palace-dressed girl fall into the water, many guards jumped into the water, but the big waves rolled and the palace-dressed girl disappeared in the blink of an eye. Under the Lone Wolf Mountain. Avenue to Simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Second rate, 335/2500, Practice. Moon Blossom Breathing Method, Great Full Circle, Reflecting Sun Breathing Method, Great Full Circle, Martial Arts. Arrow Technique, Big Round Full, Iron Sand Palm, Big Round Full, Flying Eve's Lightness Body Skill, Full 52309/62500, Green Snake Sword Technique, Full 123/12500, Consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, weakened. Lin Changsheng stood at the spot where he had killed Tai Yang and Li San, looking at the panel at the corner of his eye. Recently, in order to practice Flying Eve's light body skill, for running, I have all come here. His Flying Eve's lightness skill is almost reaching full circle. Even the green snake swordsmanship, which was successfully simplified to watching the snake at the beginner level, reaches the ultimate level where one can gain experience by observing the movement of the snake. So, Lin Changsheng woke up in the morning and went for a run. He was holding a cage with a small green snake bought in the city, running and observing at the same time. This way, there was no delay. The Flying Eve's lightness skill and the green snake sword technique have both received experience improvements. Someone was washed onto the beach. Suddenly, Lin Changsheng saw a man in white lying on the beach by the river. He was wet all over and had long hair, unsure if he was alive or dead. Lin Changsheng got closer and found that the man in white was a woman with a graceful figure, seemingly very good looking. Cough. Suddenly, the woman in white coughed and some water overflowed from the corner of her mouth. Not dead yet. Lin Changsheng's gaze flickered and he walked forward, saying, "Miss, are you okay? I guess I drank a lot of water, spit her out." Lin Changsheng shouted for a while, but seeing that the girl still hadn't woken up, he immediately muttered to himself. "Stop speaking." Stepping forward, he lifted the girl's feet and shook them. Suddenly, the girl let out a whoosh of water. Although she hadn't woken up yet, her heart rate gradually increased. Lin Changsheng saw that the girl was still awake, so he immediately performed a compressional cardiopulmonary resuscitation on her. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Wenjing, Sun Moon Tuna Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Wenjing, Sun Moon Tuna Method. After Lin Changsheng's awkward pressing operation, the girl in white finally let out a whimper, opened her eyes, and looked at Lin Changsheng, feeling weak. A blush appeared on her pretty face, saying, "Thank you, young master." "You're welcome. How did you fall into the water? Where are you from?" Lin Changsheng looked at the girl in white and asked. "My name is..." The girl hesitated for a moment and said, "Wenjing, I'm from upstream here, and you?" "Lin Changsheng lives on this east street." "Since you're okay now, I feel at ease. Goodbye." Lin Changsheng said lightly, then turned around and left. "Young master, wait a moment." At this moment, the white-clad girl Wenjing shouted from behind. "I haven't eaten anything for a day. Can you help me? I will repay you in the future. Here, you can eat this cake." Upon hearing this, Lin Changsheng took out a large pancake with body temperature from his pocket and handed it to Wenjing. Wenjing's face showed a blush as she took the big cake and ate it in small bites. Perhaps she was too hungry, she ate it quickly. Lin Changsheng watched as Wenjing finished eating and didn't say much, then turned around and left. However, footsteps sounded behind him, and he noticed that Wenjing was following behind. Lin Changsheng didn't pay attention, so he could take her to East Street. The two of them, one in front and one behind, soon arrived at East Street. "Miss Yu, ahead is East Street. We will meet later." Lin Changsheng clenched his fists at Wenjing. Young master, I am currently penniless and unable to walk. Would it be convenient for me to stay at your house for a while? Wenjing said awkwardly. Going to my house? Lin Changsheng frowned as he found it inconvenient to live alone with an additional woman. Yeah, can I stay for a while and leave as soon as I recover? Wenjing hesitated when she saw Lin Changsheng, and said pitifully. Please, I was injured and there's really no place to go. Lin Changsheng hesitated. Stay here for a while, and when the person who picks me up arrives, I'll give you the silver. What do you think? Seeing that Lin Changsheng was unwilling, Wenjing said again. Give the silver. Lin Changsheng blinked, nodded, and said. Okay. Lin Gongzi, is this your home? Not long after, Lin Changsheng returned home with Wenjing. Wenjing looked at the deserted house, her beautiful eyes revealing a thoughtful expression. Well, I'm living alone, so you can stay in this room temporarily. Lin Changsheng settled Wenjing in the left room. Zhen noodle shop. Ma Zhankui, that beast, died from 4 arrows. Did the person who killed him use a bow and arrow? Zhen sat behind the counter, with a thoughtful expression in her beautiful eyes. Since the death of Ma Zhankui, her life has also become much safer. A figure flashed through her mind, then shook her head again and murmured. It can't be him. Wenjing lives at Lin Changsheng's house, almost staying in her room and not going out. I only come out of the room during meals. Lin Changsheng still goes out for a run after buying groceries in the morning to gain experience in Flying Eve's light body technique, and practices moonlight breathing technique at night. In the early morning of the 3rd day, Lin Changsheng's moonlight breathing technique has finally reached an advanced level of perfection. Detected, moon blossom breathing method, sun reflecting breathing method, 2 similar great perfection techniques, which can cost 10 taels of silver to merge into a new technique. Do you want to merge them? At that moment, Lin Changsheng saw a red prompt message popping up on the corner of his eye panel. Can it merge? It takes 10 taels of silver. Upon seeing this prompt, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up. Unexpectedly, after completing the 2 techniques, the system could still merge. Can martial arts of the same type also be integrated? Lin Changsheng is worried about not having advanced martial arts techniques. This fusion function is really a timely help. Fusion. Lin Changsheng immediately became aware of it. Silver, he has over 1,500 taels, which is naturally enough. The fusion of the moon blossom breathing method and the reflecting sun breathing method is underway. Successful fusion. Obtain the sun-moon breathing method. Detected the sun and moon breathing method. Does it consume 10 taels of silver and simplify it? At the moment when Lin Changsheng successfully fused, a prompt popped up again on the panel. Simplify. Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up with anticipation. The great way to simplify. The simplification of the sun and moon breathing method was successful. The sun and moon breathing method equals basking in sunlight, basking in moonlight. A red prompt appeared on Lin Changsheng's front panel. Sun and moon. Upon seeing the prompt, Lin Changsheng's eyes lit up. At this moment, the moonlight outside the window shone on him, and he saw the panel. During these few breaths, the sun and moon breathing technique added 8 experience points. Lin Changsheng opened the panel with consciousness. Avenue to simplicity. Level 1, Lin Changsheng. 1655, Cultivation. Second rate, 448/2500, Practice. Sun and moon breathing technique, beginner 8 out of 1000, Martial arts. Arrow technique, De Yuan Man, Iron Sand Palm, De Yuan Man, Flying Eve's Lightness Skill, De Yuan Man, Green Snake Sword Technique, De Ching 6223/12500, consuming a certain amount of silver can simplify techniques, martial arts, etc. Status. Yin Qi invading the body, weakened. The sun and moon breathing method is more advanced than the reflection sun breathing method, and requires more experience points. Lin Changsheng looked at the panel and suddenly said. Just basking in the sun and the moon is equivalent to practicing. This is really too simple. My cultivation experience is advancing too slowly. Lin Changsheng looked at the panel and thought to himself. As he advanced to a second-rate master, his cultivation and experience improvement slowed down. He considered that there may be two aspects, the first of which is that the cultivation method may be low. Another thing is to absorb energy, which is the power of pills. If we use pills, can we improve our speed after taking them? Now that the martial arts have merged, it's time to go and see how to get some pills, qi and blood soup and other auxiliary cultivation methods. Lin Changsheng obtained over 1,500 taels of silver from Ma Zhankui's house. He plans to wait for a few days and take it out to buy some qi and blood soup from the Baichao Tang in the western city to try. 3 days later, at noon. Lin Changsheng went to Dongjie to buy groceries and came back. Today, I'm sorry to eat what you made every day. Today, let me go cook. Wenjing volunteered and said. Well, that's good either. Lin Changsheng nodded and went to see his small snake cage to increase the experience points of the green snake sword technique. My current martial arts include arrow technique, green snake sword technique, iron sand palm, and flying Eve's lightness body technique, all of which are not of the same type and cannot be integrated. To take these martial arts to the next level, I must learn more techniques. Perhaps, go get the body technique of Luyun Martial Arts School. Lin Changsheng looked at the small snake in the cage and whispered in secret. The Golden Bell Martial Arts School has a Golden Bell shield, as well as fist techniques. The Flowing Cloud Lightness Body Skill and Flying Eve's Lightness Body Skill of the Flowing Cloud Martial Arts School can be integrated. Changsheng, the food is ready. At this moment, Wenjing, who was busy in the kitchen, walked out with 4 plates and 2 bowls of rice. This Lin Changsheng was surprised to see the food brought out by Wenjing. Black and paste are the colors of the dishes that Wenjing cooked today. Changsheng, I didn't cook much before. Today is my first time cooking, and I didn't do it well. However, I will improve. Seeing Lin Changsheng's expression, Wenjing's pretty face showed an embarrassed expression, rubbing her plain white hands like a child who had done something wrong. It's okay, it's great to have this for the first time. Let's eat. Lin Changsheng glanced at it and found that besides the slightly dark exterior, there was still something to eat inside. He made do with it and couldn't waste it. He immediately picked up the rice and found that it was half raw. Lin Changsheng picked up another chopstick of vegetables and stuffed it into his mouth, suddenly stunned. Salty, salty bitterness. End of this chapter.